We are back with the thiccmaninc podcast, a special edition of the thiccmaninc podcast. On top of that, the predictions for the 2023 playoffs. And we're going to go all the way through and then revise these when we get everything wrong after the first week. So I'm excited. I know Tristan's excited. Let's get right into it.
Subscribe to our channel too.
Yeah, sub that. Do that. Anyway, on to the playoffs. First off, we'll be talking about the Bills squaring off against the Miami Dolphins. And this game could have been interesting. It could have been fun. It could have been enjoyable for the viewers at home, but Tua Tagovailoa's brain is leaking out of his ears. He's not playing. He's standing in a dark tunnel to watch this game, and the Bills are going to thrash, dominate, and humiliate the Dolphins. This was not going to be close. Josh Allen's probably going to get benched in the third quarter. It's going to be a blowout. It's going to look like a national championship game. I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but the Bills are going to handily beat the Fins in this one.
The Dolphins, they're the worst team in the playoffs right now because Tua is not on the field. Their defense has not been as good as we expected it to be this season, even with the addition of Bradley Chubb, largely due to they've had some key injuries, Byron Jones, a couple other players on that defense. They haven't been able to put everything together there. And even though they have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they're starting a 7th round rookie in his first playoff game ever against Josh Allen, who's playing with a sense of urgency. He's living in Patrick Mahomes' shadow. He doesn't want to be there anymore. He's looking to make a playoff run this season. He's looking to get to that AFC Championship game and take down Patrick Mahomes. So I think this game should be an easy victory for the Bills against a division opponent. They're not going to let the Dolphins take them down, especially when they're starting a 7th round rookie in the playoffs on wild card weekend. It's not going to matter. Tyreek Hill exists, like I said. Not going to matter. Jalen Waddle exists. Josh Allen's probably going to put up 5 touchdowns in this game. He wants to make a statement. Bills should win this easily. Yeah, Jalen's going to be waddling to the couch after this week. On to a game which hopefully is a little bit more competitive, but let's be honest, it won't be. The Bengals are hosting the Ravens. The Ravens feel like they are in some way the underdog, the favorite. They feel like Lamar's playing with their emotions, and they're probably right. Lamar is playing with the Ravens' emotions. It doesn't matter if Lamar plays, though. He could start and have the best game of his life. He is not beating the Cincinnati Bengals team. They're too good everywhere else. They got better receivers. They got better running back. Their defense is better. Their secondary is better. And they've got a better thrower of the football in Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is angry. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He feels like he got screwed over in the Bills game. Which, hey, maybe he did. And he's going to exercise that frustration on the Ravens. They are going to smoke the Ravens in this one. This is not going to be a particularly compelling game unless Lamar Jackson can grind it to a halt with his running abilities. And if Lamar doesn't play, it's over. It's done. The Ravens got nothing without him. And they are going to have nothing without him when he departs in free agency. We don't really know what to expect out of the Ravens at this point. Lamar Jackson hasn't played since week 12. Mark Andrews has been battling injuries all season long. He hasn't been at his peak form. And the Ravens basically have no receiving core. They don't have much talent there. Rashad Bateman, I don't think, has played all season. I'm pretty sure he's not back for the playoffs either. So when you take that into consideration, I think the Bengals are going to win it with all the talent they have on offense. Jamar Chase, Ellie, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. They have all the talent in the world. They're the more talented team, and they should beat the Ravens. The only X factor in this game is if Lamar Jackson comes back from his few weeks rest, his knees feeling good, body's feeling good, and he runs for 150 yards, truly takes over the Bengals with his rushing attack, finally healthy. Anyone who denies that happening, I think, is a little crazy. I think there's a potential for that to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. The Ravens haven't really had everything together due to injuries and kind of, let's say, lack of consideration towards their offensive personnel, especially at receiver.
Poor choices in salary distribution. That's a polite way of putting it. Got some bozos in the front office.
But we both agree the Bengals should win this one.
Speaking of bozos in the front office, the Chargers are squaring off against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this game is the popular upset. Everyone's picking the Jaguars to go in, or to host the Chargers, and then put a whooping on. They go, oh, well, Trevor Lawrence, he's got great hair. Their defense is better. Their running game might be better in some ways. And it's just not going to happen. The money is wrong on this one. The fans are wrong. The Jaguars aren't winning this game. Mike Williams is playing. Joey Bosa is playing. They're both healthy-ish. They're going to be there. Bosa is going to hinder Travis Etienne in that run game. He is a completely transformational player for this Chargers defense. As for Justin Herbert, he's better than Trevor Lawrence. He may not have better hair than him. He may not have the NIL deals Trevor Lawrence had, but he's still a better quarterback. I would take him over Trevor Lawrence 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 times out of 10, unless, of course, they're playing the Cowboys. This team is just better across the board, and the most important positions, the Chargers have the edge. They are going to beat the Jaguars in Duval.
I would have to agree. I've seen a lot of people, the the trendy pick is to pick the Jaguars. You see Colin Cowherd on TV, he's picking the Jaguars. You see some Joe Schmo on TikTok, they're picking the Jaguars. And I don't really understand it. Just this last game against the Titans, they barely won. If that fumble 6 doesn't happen against Joshua Dobbs, do you think it's a guarantee they pull off that victory? I think you're lying if you answer yes to that question. So when you're playing the Chargers, who have really started, whatever the shenanigans went down in week 18, I don't really care. Before that, they were hot. They were getting healthy. Mike Williams, it's only back spasms. He'll be back. When he needs to play in the playoffs, he'll be there. They're the more put together team. They're in their first playoff appearance with Justin Herbert as their quarterback. He's hungry, and we've seen a great inconsistency within the Jaguars throughout their season. There's a reason they only won 9 games. It's not like they're a 12-win team going into this. There's still, some aspects
they're
of
in the playoffs because they play in the AFC South.
Exactly. There's some aspects of their defense that aren't so great. On offense, they can be electric at times, but also can be super inconsistent at times. So I'm going with the Chargers. I think it's just trendy. You want the first overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, to do good. You want to see that story develop. The media wants to see that story happen. They want to see him take down Justin Herbert. I don't think it's happening.
I mean, Justin Herbert's social media quarterback, so the media loves them, but let's not get into that. That's a different video for a different day. On to the NFC wildcard matchups, where we see the opposite of a social media quarterback go in and face the opposite of a social media quarterback. We see a gritty matchup between Brock Purdy and Geno Smith. And I wish I could say, the quarterback play is going to be the deciding factor, Mr. Relevant versus the guy who keeps getting written off but finally found his home in Seattle. I wish I could say that'd be the contributing factor, but we all know what it's going to be. The 49ers defense is going to strangle the Seahawks to death. I think they'll be able to score maybe 2 touchdowns if I'm being generous, but the 49ers offense is going to be able to do too much. They're going to force turnovers, they're going to score points, their special teams is going to be active, and Brock Purdy is only going to need to be a game manager to get Kittle, McCaffrey, Debo, and Ayuk going. The 49ers are simply too talented across the board, and the only position which the Seahawks might be better at is maybe quarterback and maybe wide receiver. That's not going to be enough, though. The 49ers are just too dominant. They should be a lot of people's picks to come out of the NFC. They're a great team.
Yeah, they're one of the 2 truly elite teams in the NFC. I think it's them and the Eagles. After that, I think there's a major drop off. And when it comes to them specifically, they have an elite defense and they have elite players on their offense all over the field. Brock Purdy has been extremely impressive since he's had to step in as Mr. Irrelevant, but it's not like it's been a difficult situation for him to step into. He has Christian McCaffrey, one of the best running backs in the NFL, George Kittle, a top 3 tight end in the NFL, is Debo Samuel, an all-pro, Brandon Ayuk is an incredible receiver, doesn't get as much shine as he maybe would in another offense just because they run the ball so much, and he's kind of maybe the 4th wheel even. So the 49ers are great everywhere. Seahawks defense, they do have Tariq Woolen. They are building something over there, but they don't have all the pieces yet to truly compete with the 49ers. So the 49ers, I think they're one of the 2 best teams in the NFC, and it should be an easy victory against a 7-win Seahawks team.
Now here's my lock of the week, and this is a pick I guarantee. You've heard people all season talking, 13-4 frauds, owned by Dallas, point differential, Kirk can't perform. They might not as we all even play the game. Why are they even playing the game, Tris? Why are they even playing the Giants? They're gonna lose, right? Wrong. They play these games for a reason. And that reason is because to let guys like Kirk Cousins, like Justin Jefferson, like Dalvin Cook, like Adam Thielen, like TJ Hawkinson, like that offensive line shine. The Minnesota Vikings are not frauds. They are not pretenders. They deserve to be here. They have 13 wins. That's 4 more than the Giants. They score points. They are dynamic. I don't care about their defense. It's got holes. So does Swiss cheese. It's still amazing. The Vikings are going to host the Giants, and they are going to smack them. This game is being played at 4 p.m. on a Sunday. Guess what? Vikings time zone, that's 2 p.m. Close enough to 1 p.m. for me. The Giants are not beating the Minnesota Vikings. They're not going to come close to the Vikings. The Vikings are simply too good. They've got a better coach. They've got better skill players. They got a better quarterback. They've got better defensive ends. They got better quarterbacks. They are just better. If you're betting on the Giants, you're a jabroni. You're a clown. You are one of the public stooges who is following around the TikTok content creators and social media influencers by the nose. Don't pick the Giants. Pick the Vikings. They are going to win and humiliate the Jersey Giants.
Now, that's just a whole lot of coat from Isaiah there, and I'm going to remain objective in my predictions. While there's maybe a slight bias towards who I'm picking to win, the way I see this game is the Vikings are going to win if Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins can get things going. They are the engine to that offense. If they develop a connection in the game, if they start to get things going, there is real potential for Justin Jefferson to go for 200 yards and Kirk Cousins to throw for 350, and then have Dalvin Cook, get in there there for a touchdown. Maybe TJ Hawkinson gets things going. That can happen. But if it doesn't, and I think there's real potential for that not to happen, the Giants I think, have advantages all over the field. Their defense is better than the Vikings. The Vikings have one of the worst in the NFL, one of the worst all time, one of the worst secondaries of all time. They don't have much going there.
All pro level cornerback. That's disrespectful.
And you said all pro level cornerback. I mean, they give up more passing yards per game. And you talk about maybe they have better defensive ends. The Giants have more sacks and they give up less pass yards a game. So you can have those names all you want. But the Giants, they got Kayvon Thibodeau. They have Azeez Ojulari, both ascending players. They have Dexter Lawrence, one of the best nose tackle in the NFL. And they have a solid front seven. They got it going. They may be weak in the secondary. They may be weak there. But, they're getting Xavier McKinney back. Adoree Jackson is coming back from injury. Leonard Williams. They have a more talented defense than the Vikings. So then on the offensive side of the ball, the Vikings, they don't have a great defense, opening up the door for the Giants. I think the Giants receivers are a little bit hated on too much. Isaiah Hodgins, I think, has established himself as a very solid receiver. Darius Slayton has always been a very solid number 3 receiver, maybe a wide receiver 2 if you have a truly elite wide receiver 1. And Saquon Barkley, one of the best running backs in the NFL. So when you're going against a defense that's as bad as the Vikings, it's going to open up the ability for this Giants offense to put up some points, get some yards, and win the game. So I think the Giants are winning this one. I'm predicting them to win, but like I said, if Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins get it going, they could take over the game.
Talk about copium. They don't need to get going. Someone else will get going. Osborne will get going. Thielen will get going. Hawkinson will get going. Cook will get going. You were a victim of a 100-yard performance from TJ Hawkinson the last time the Giants played the Vikings. Oh yeah, how'd that game go, by the way? The Giants lost. And nothing will change in this matchup except the final score, which will be much more in favor of the Vikings. I'm sorry, but the Vikings are going on a run this year. And speaking of teams which could go on a run, the Dallas Cowboys are squaring off in Tampa Bay against the Buccaneers. And Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that. It is fairly apparent to the casual viewers at home the Dallas Cowboys should win this game. They play up to their competition. They play down to their competition. They rely on the spur of the moment, the feel in the air. They think they're pretty good. But they did lose to this Buccaneers team earlier in the year. They know they're a threat. They know Tom Brady is. They know what happened last year and how Dak Prescott won the MVP award. They can't slip up in the first round. I don't think they will. They're going to go all out. Their pass rush is going to be ferocious against that banged up Buccaneers offensive line. Their cornerbacks, Trayvon Diggs in particular, is going to be able to lock up Mike Evans. I think he's going to have a great game, maybe the best game of his career. Might not have an interception, but I think he's going to hold off on jumping routes and really just take away Brady's biggest target. And I think the Cowboys offense, despite being flawed, despite not having a really good wide receiver 2, despite having Ezekiel getting 2 yards a carry, is going to be able to put up enough points to get past the Buccaneers defense. The Bucs offense ain't doing anything, and this Cowboys team is going to win on the road in Tampa Bay and shut up a lot of Tom Brady truth. Still the GOAT, but not winning this round. Out in the first.
See, I would agree with you if this was the Cowboys that we saw at the first half of the season, when Micah Parsons really had things going, when that Cowboys pass rush looked like the best in the NFL. But over the second half of the season, that pass rush has fallen off. Micah Parsons has been dealing with injuries. Teams have been eliminating him more from the field, and they've been able to get things going through the air, and the Cowboys' run defense hasn't been great the entirety of the year. Now, in this game, that might not necessarily be an issue, because I wouldn't exactly call the Bucs a good rushing attack. I think they have maybe the fewest rush attempts in the NFL, or they're definitely bottom 5, bottom 10, somewhere down there. They don't run it a lot. So, like I said, Cowboys beginning season, I picked them to win this game. But their defense has not been good. They're giving up points all over the place. Gardner Minshew scored 40-something points. What do you think playoff Tom Brady is going to do with Mike Evans, who finally remembered how to play football again, put up 3 touchdowns, 200 yards at the end of the season? Chris Godwin is healthy. Leonard Fournette, still a solid back. They got Rashad White also there with him. I think this is the perfect storm for Cowboys fans to get disappointed. Playing playoff Tom Brady, defense has been on a downward spiral. The offense, Dak has not been good all season long. They run Ezekiel Elliott too much. They don't get Pollard the ball enough. And CeeDee Lamb, he does his thing respectively. He's definitely taken a bigger step to being considered one of those elite receivers, top 10, top 5 guys in some people's conversations. So I still think I think the Bucs are going to win. Leave Cowboys fans disappointed. It's a perfect storm for Cowboys fan disappointment.
The one thing I think you're wrong on, I'll refute you on this a little bit. Despite our good friends' predictions, I think a lot of Cowboys fans are a bit scared of the Buccaneers. They remember the Week 1 matchup, and they know who Tom Brady is because they're used to cheering for him once their team gets eliminated from the playoffs. So disappoint might not be the right word. They'll be sad, but disappoint, man, I don't know. I don't think the Cowboys fans are that confident. They should be. It's old man Brady, not Tom Brady. But we'll get into that later. On to the divisional round in the AFC. And we've got a dynamic matchup between two of the best young quarterbacks in football, with Patrick Mahomes squaring off against Justin Herbert. And look, even if you want to write off the clear disparity between Mahomes and Herbert, if you want to ignore how much better Patrick Mahomes is than Justin Herbert, the Chiefs are just better pretty much everywhere besides defensive end and maybe wide receiver than the Chargers. Their defense is better. Their O-line's better. They've got Travis Kelce, one of the best pass catchers in all of football. And they are led by an offensive genius in Andy Reid. On top of that, they've been here before. They are used to these rough playoff matchups. And it's a home field advantage. They've got everything going in their favor. Most importantly, though, Patrick Mahomes is getting real tired of losing to the Bengals. And he wants to meet them in the AFC Championship game. And to do that, he's got to put a whooping on LA. And a whooping he will put. I'm picking the Chiefs in this one. Closer game than any of the wildcard matchups in the AFC. But still, I'm giving it to Kansas City.
Yeah, there's not much for me to say or add on to this game. Home field advantage, hard to play in Kansas City. Jerick McKinnon, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, they've been elite in that offense, and Kadarius Toney is finally healthy, and from what we've seen from him, he showed the ability that he can definitely be incredibly electric, used in spurts. Maybe they give him 5 touches, he can get 70 yards on those 5 touches and really add to that Chiefs offense. So I think the Chiefs offense is dynamic, their play callers are dynamic, the Chargers, they're not good enough on defense, and I think with Bosa back, that'll certainly help. The Chiefs' tackles aren't all that great. They have one of the worst offensive tackle, while their interior offensive line is very good. Their offensive tackles aren't that great, so maybe Bosa and Mack cause some havoc, but I'm picking the Chiefs to win. Hard environment to play in. The Chiefs have been there before, been there, done that. I think this is where Herbert's playoff run ends.
On to the Bills-Bengals game. I want to paint a little picture with words here. It's the Bills game. They're in Orchard Park. The crowd's going wild. The Bills are ready to walk out of the dome, and a lone man wearing a number 3 jersey carries a flag and leads his team out through the smoke. Damar Hamlin will be at this game, and he will lead the Bills out the tunnel. He will get that place hopping. Every single player in that Bills locker room will be on fire. They want to prove, hey, I don't care we were down the first quarter. We would have beat you. We would have manhandled you. You were not ready for us to get going. Josh Allen has been slipping a little bit. Red zone interceptions, turnovers, not as effective on the ground. It doesn't matter. It's coming together this week. It's playoff football. This is where Josh Allen thrives. Everyone saw what he did last year in the playoffs. Had the best 2-game stretch we have ever seen from a quarterback in the postseason. Lost on some last-second disappointment and a coin flip. He's not letting that happen. He's not going to make this a close game. I don't care about T. Higgins. I don't care about Jamar Chase. I don't care about Joe Burrow. I don't care about DJ Reed. I don't care about any of that. No team is going into the Bills Stadium when they are this full of energy, when Josh Allen is on fire and beating them. The Bengals are losing this game. Josh Allen is going to dominate Cincinnati, and America will rejoice, setting up a nice neutral site AFC Championship game.
Josh Allen is on a mission. He left last year's playoff disappointed. He never got a chance to touch the ball in overtime after his defense let him down with 13 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and then he had to watch Patrick Mahomes drive down the field and win that game. So he wants another shot at Patrick Mahomes. Combine that with the fact Damar Hamlin, they are playing with a sense of urgency. They are playing with house money. They want to win this game. Like a Bengals, great team, great offense, defense, solid to okay. With the way I'm expecting Josh Allen to play, with the way I'm expecting that defense to play, I'm picking the Bills to win, and maybe the Bengals can make it next season.
The Bills are playing with their hearts on their sleeve, and we're picking with our hearts on our sleeves. On to the NFC. We see an electric matchup, in my opinion at least, between the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional round. A rematch of the two bouts this year. Both times in the regular season, neither of these teams faced each other at their full strength. One time it was Cooper Rush starting for the Cowboys, one time it was Gardner Minshew starting for the Eagles team. They split the series. Now they're headed to Philadelphia. And again, I get back into what makes this Cowboys team. They rise to the occasion. They play up to their competition. I know Gardner Minshew helped the Cowboys out a little bit. Still, they played great offensively against that Eagles defense. Minus one terrible pick six early from Dak Prescott. They beat up on the Eagles defense. I know the Eagles offense completely different animal with Jalen Hurts over Gardner Minshew. He still might be a little bit banged up. I don't know though. His rotator cuff could be an issue. I'm picking the Cowboys to win this one and upset. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like the Eagles. I don't like either of these teams. A meteor strike is the ideal outcome for this game. from me. But I do think the Cowboys are better in terms of their quarterback as a passer. They've got some advantages on defense, and they are built around momentum. Once they get going, they are hard to stop. They are hard to contain. They are the most inconsistent up and down team, and I think the Eagles are about to get hit with a rough up right now. Pair that with Jalen Hurts' playoff inexperience, this being his first game, I believe. I just can't pick the Eagles.
Well, in the scenario where what you're talking about does happen, I don't think the Cowboys stand much of a chance. They're not really better at basically any position. I think the Eagles have the better quarterback. Maybe running back because I love Tony Pollard, but the Cowboys don't even use Tony Pollard. The Eagles have the better receivers. I think A.J. Brown's better than CeeDee Lamb. Devonta Smith is certainly better than any other receiver the Cowboys have. And on the defensive side of the ball, the only place the Cowboys are better is maybe Micah Parsons. The Eagles have possibly the best secondary in the NFL. So, but then again, weird things happen in divisional rivalries, a rivalry between the Cowboys and Eagles. So you never know what could happen. I would still pick the Eagles in this one. But in my playoff scenario, the Eagles would be playing the Giants. And although I would love to see the Giants make a run, I think this time around they'd stand much better of a chance because they have Leonard Williams back. They didn't have him with the last time they played him. They're going to have Xavier McKinney back. I don't remember if Adoree Jackson was healthy for that game or not, but their defense is much healthier, so that would help in their ability to possibly beat the Eagles. But at the end of the day, the Eagles have a great defense. They're able to stop the run. They're going to be honed in on stopping Saquon Barkley. They're going to be honed in on stopping Daniel Jones off his read options or Brian Dable moving the pocket to allow Daniel Jones to run down the field or throw in between zones. So the Giants are overmatched. If they get things going because they're finally healthy, maybe they're able to squeak out a victory. That's what the hopeful me is thinking. But the Eagles should win this one.
If by a hitherto unexpected act of God, the Dallas Cowboys somehow make it to facing the Eagles, they're going to get thrashed by them. We both know it's going to happen. Your best case scenario, if for some reason Hurts still tweaks his shoulder and they think, okay, it's the Giants, we're all guarding Minshew for the first half, and they'd only be up by about 5 points at halftime. At that point, they feel uncomfortable sending Hurts out and then they blow him out. It's not going to be a game if it happens.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's very wishful thinking. On to the Vikings. Going to San Francisco to face the 49ers. And I said this team in San Francisco, the 49ers, was a great team. They've got amazing receivers, an amazing tight end, an amazing running back, great lines, great secondary, best linebacker in all of football, and it doesn't matter. I tell you why it doesn't matter, because Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins are him. I predict this game on West Coast time will be played at 1 p.m., which means Kirk Cousins will be at his deadliest. On top of that, Brock Purdy, rookie quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, last overall pick. He is not going to rise to the occasion. He is going to wilt. They are trying to hide this kid's throwing ability because it's not a great ability. He is not going to be able to rise to the occasion. He's not going to be able to perform against a real 13-win playoff team, the Minnesota Vikings. He doesn't have it in him. He's going to have pressure on his face and he's going to panic. He's going to underthrow. He's going to overthrow. He's going to throw to Harrison Smith. He's going to throw to Patrick Peterson. He's going to throw to Eric Kendricks, but he's not going to throw to his receivers. The 49ers are not going to win this game. Brock Purdy is going to have a meltdown and make it apparent that he should not be the franchise quarterback for years to come. Maybe they give it back to Trey Lance. Maybe they re-sign Jimmy G. I don't know. But the answer will not be Brock Purdy after this game. The Vikings are going to the AFC Championship game.
Well, the Vikings have a horrible passing defense. Their running defense also isn't great. Their defense in general is awful. So when the 49ers are so elite all over their offensive side of the ball, it makes it easier for Brock Purdy to facilitate the offense, especially when you're going against one of the worst defenses, if not the worst defense in the NFL, kind of like I spoke about in the Giants game. So in that scenario, I'm still picking the 49ers to win. I don't see the Vikings going to the Super Bowl in 2023. In
no
my
one said
scenario,
Super Bowl yet. No one said Super Bowl yet.
Going to the NFC Championship game. My bad, misspoke there. In my NFC divisional game, I have the 49ers playing the Bucks, and the Bucks are just outmatched everywhere in this matchup. The 49ers have an incredible pass rush, incredible run defense. Their offense, talent all over the field. Tom Brady is going to be overmatched. I think it's too significant of a talent gap to overcome. The Bucks offensive line has been good all year long. They've been relegated to checkdowns. He hasn't been able to push the ball down the field. And with the 49ers with the 49ers pass rush, they're going to be forced to take those checkdowns, and the 49ers are going to be ready for it. So easy victory for the 49ers in my scenario.
It would be very poetic if the team Tom Brady fantasized about playing with as a young man, the big Joe Montana fan himself, the guy's created by the 49ers. There'd be something to that. Not quite as satisfying as Rodgers losing to him, but hey, be a little bit different. Sadly, it's not going to happen, but yeah, the 49ers would beat the Buccaneers if that game did occur. On to the championship games, where we see the Kansas City Chiefs hosting, maybe 3, the Buffalo Bills, could be a neutral site. I hope it's a neutral site. It should be a neutral site. The Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and we're probably going to beat the Bengals. Both these teams should be 14-3, but unfortunate circumstances. But at neutral site, I'm taking Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I prefer Stephon Diggs in these big moments to Travis Kelce. I prefer the Bills defense in these big moments to the Chiefs defense. And when the lights are the brightest in the playoffs, Josh Allen is him. He is going to make it very apparent that he is stepping out from Patrick Mahomes' shadow. I love the lights are bright in these games because Patrick Mahomes is going to have a big shadow, which is, hey, plenty of room for Josh to step out from. Allen is going to outplay Mahomes. He is going to find Stephon Diggs. He's going to find Gabe Davis. He is going to find Dalvin Cook's little brother. He is going to find Devin Singletary. He's going to find Dawson Knox. Everyone will be involved in this smackdown of the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs will fight back. Of course they'll fight back. They got a multifaceted, talented offense. They'll be all over the place. It'll be a duel. It'll be a gunfight. It'll be one of the best football games we've ever seen, rivaling that of the matchup in the divisional last year. But ultimately, I think the Bills will triumph. Maybe it's a coin flip which sends the ball to the Bills in overtime. Maybe the Bills beat them last second. I don't know. But I know the Bills are due for one, and Josh Allen's also due for one. So they're going to the Super Bowl.
I don't see that happening. All I've spoken positively about the Bills. Josh, guess what? Josh Allen is the one that has made mistakes in the clutch this season, in the red zone. Reason they lost to the Vikings. We talk about Dak leading the league in interceptions. All he's played in 12 games, so he should have significantly more. But Josh Allen right behind him with 14. And when those turnovers have come in key moments, in key spots on the field, when you can't really let them happen. Patrick Mahomes has been the best quarterback in the NFL. The Chiefs offense has been the best in the NFL, and they've had things rolling. So playing on a neutral site with Patrick Mahomes, with that offense, with what they're able to accomplish, Josh Allen being somewhat inconsistent this season, has 5 or so games where he doesn't look like the Josh Allen we're used to, the Josh Allen we've come to expect. So I think the Chiefs pull this victory out. I expect Patrick Mahomes to once again be back in the Super Bowl.
Truly a doubter, to be sure. I'd like to see Mahomes back in the Super Bowl. Actually, I'm a big hater of his. Check out our pinned TikTok video if you need more information on that. But I won't get into that now. It's going to be a good game regardless. If Allen turns the ball over, yeah, the Bills are screwed. But I don't think he will. Again, playoff riser. I think he's going to cut down those mistakes. And speaking of a mistake, it was a big mistake for the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Minnesota Vikings by 37 points in their first matchup. They got cocky. They're going to be cocky in this NFC Championship game. They're going to think, oh, the Minnesota Vikings strolled in here. They beat a lousy Giants team. They beat a team with a last overall draft pick as their quarterback. Boo-hoo, big deal. We're better than them. We blew them out last time. And that isn't going to happen this time. The Vikings are going to face off against the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game and go to work. Kirk Cousins is going to go to work. Jefferson's going to go to work. Hawkins is going to go to work. You've already heard me list off all the names. They're all going to work again. This Cowboys team is not going to be prepared for what pops them in the mouth to start the game. They're going to go down big at the half. It's going to be 24-3 at the half. Cowboys will fight back, make it more competitive. Vikings ultimately win. Greg Joseph, 60-yard field goal. Final score, 33-30. Vikings are going to the Super Bowl. They are a better team. They've got a better quarterback. They've got a better wide receiver 1. They got a better running back. They've got better everything. Their heart's in it more. They're more fired up. They are playing for something bigger than Dallas Cowboys. They don't have a Super Bowl to their name yet. And this is the team of destiny. I don't care about point differential. I don't care about regular season matches. I care about heart. And the Vikings have heart. And they are taking that heart to the Super Bowl.
I don't see that happening. Now, I definitely think it'd be a whole lot closer. But with how bad that Vikings defense is, that matchup would allow Dak to cook. And in super unfortunate circumstances, the Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl. So in that scenario, I'd be picking the Cowboys. And I don't think the Vikings can compete with how bad their defense is. Sorry. But in my scenario, of course, I have the 1 and 2 seed playing against each other. Eagles versus 49ers, and I am picking the 49ers. I am going to see, and I want to see a matchup from a few years ago. I want to see the Chiefs and 49ers playing the Super Bowl. And the reason I think the 49ers beat the Eagles is because they are just so good everywhere. The Eagles, we've seen that secondary bend at points this season. We've seen them struggle to stop the run this season. And the 49ers have an electric rushing attack. They have electric receiving threats. They have an electric defense. The electricity's everywhere. So I'm picking the 49ers to win and to see a matchup from last season.
In an ideal fantasy world, I'm sure that could happen. I would like to see the 49ers in the Super Bowl over the Eagles, but I will not concern myself with predicting that game. Sure, I'll say the 49ers win, but it's not going to happen. What is going to happen is the Minnesota Vikings are going to go down to Arizona and face off against the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. And we're going to bring that fire and fury from the heavens. We're going to light it up. Arizona's going to glow in the dark. Minnesota is going to go scorched earth on the Buffalo Bills. This is the battle of teams who are 0-4 in the Super Bowl. That changes for one of them. The Vikings are hoisting that Lombardi trophy. Kirk Cousins is hoisting that Super Bowl MVP trophy. And the Minnesota Vikings will shut up all the advanced analytic nerds who think point spread matters. This is a team of destiny, a team which will beat the Bills, beat the Chiefs, beat whoever they play, and hoist the Lombardi. It's gonna happen. You just need to prepare for it.
That's not going to happen. I've said enough about why I think the Vikings, they're not even going to make it out of the wild card. So I don't even need to speak on that potential scenario because I think you know who I would predict to win. And I think everyone knows who actually would win that game. So my matchup, Chiefs versus 49ers. I fully expect the Chiefs to be Super Bowl champions once again. Patrick Mahomes is going to continue to add to his legacy, add another Super Bowl MVP to his resume. It's just Patrick Mahomes. You can't pick against him. Much like during Tom Brady during his reign, you know, maybe he played against teams that were more talented at other positions, but it's Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl against a 7th round rookie. At a certain point, this is where I think the experience comes into matter. Brock Purdy is not going to be ready for the moment, and despite all of the talent the 49ers have, it's going to cause them to fall to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes adding another ring, adding another Lombardi to the Chiefs trophy cabinet. They're going to be our 2023 Super Bowl champions.
If Brock gets in the Super Bowl, he's ready for the moment. And you and I both know what happened the last time the Kansas City Chiefs paced off against a late round draft pick quarterback and 2 elite pass rushers. They got smacked in the Super Bowl. If that situation happens, the 49ers are winning. But I'm not concerned myself with that because the Minnesota Vikings are going to the Super Bowl and winning. Not going to be the 49ers. Not going to be the Chiefs. It's going to be Minnesota.
The Giants are more likely to go to the Super Bowl than the Vikings.
You're wrong, biased, and a hater. Those are our playoff predictions. We will update them later as the week progresses, as the games progress. I fully expect to be pounding the table and screaming Vikings in the Super Bowl all the way through. Let's go. Thick Man Inc. out.
See you guys next time.